What's going on, guys? It's Ginger2996 here, and today I'm bringing you the first in a series of squad basic guides. So what we're going to be going over today is the fundamentals for before you get into your first squad game. Now, a lot of players have recently picked the game up, and that's fantastic to see the community growing. But what you're going to want to do before you enter your first game, and after you've loaded up squad, is you'll be sent to this page, the home page. And what you're going to want to do is, first things first, go to settings. Now, we're going to begin with the field of view. A lot of you will be tempted to just crank this bad boy all the way up to 120. Because of games like COD, Apex Legends, Fortnite, Battlefield, etc, etc. The list goes on. But you shouldn't do this. This is because when you have 120 FOV, your game looks like this. As you can see, everything is stretched. So the targets that are in the center of your screen look further away and you can't properly range them properly. As well as this, with your scope, it takes up a much smaller area of your screen, meaning it's more difficult to spot targets. However, when set to 95 or 90, this is what you see. You have a much more full picture of what you're looking at. Personally, I recommend 95 FOV, as it gives you a little bit more to play with. It gives you a little bit more out of the sides, but it also doesn't stretch everything out super far. Next, just scrolling down this page, you'll see a load of things here. For now, leave most of them as they are. If you want, pause the video, look at these settings. These are what I run, and they work for me perfectly. Next up, we're going to be at movement. So, you've got a sprint mode. You can double tap your shift key and you will endlessly sprint. If you want this on, put it on. If you don't, leave it off. Personally, I use it because sometimes in squad there are big maps where you have to run potentially up to 1,000 meters across no man's land, and you don't want to be holding down the shift key for that long. Next up, we've got graphics. I'm just going to go over the basics really quickly. Full screen is a must. If you prefer to play in borderless or windowed, that's fine, but full screen just makes everything better. You can see more, you can do more, it enhances the gameplay experience. I'm not going to go too much into the rest of the settings, as these will depend on your graphics card, your CPU, and your RAM. For me, running a 2060 GTX 2060, these settings are more than fine for myself, and I can be happily playing the game on, custom qualities. Next up, the big one, audio. This is big. If you have the capabilities to do so, Epic is what you want to have your game sound on. What this will do is it will make the sounds much clearer in your ears. So you'll be able to hear more clearly where a bullet comes from, as opposed to just hearing a crack or a bang from off in the distance. Play around with these settings here, your master volumes, your effects volume, your music volume, etc. Next up, VoIP. Now this is a crucially important part of the game. You need a microphone. This isn't like COD, this isn't like Battlefield where you can get away with not having one. On the Steam page, the recommendations for this game, or the requirements for this game, come with a little tag at the bottom which no other game, at least to my knowledge, has. It says in your system requirements, you need a microphone. This is because Squad is such a communication-based game. So, once you've put your microphone in here, you're going to want to look at all of these. Now, personally, what I like to do is bump command volume all the way up to 200, have my squad volume at 175, and the local at 150, with a priority ducking of 50%. Now, what does this mean? Well, command voice, that's what you're going to be hearing when you're communicating with other squad leaders. Squad, what you're going to be hearing when you communicate with your squad. And local is what you're going to be hearing when you communicate with players in your local area. The priority ducking system works by dropping squad and local volume down by 50% when the command channel is active. Personally, for me, this is a great help because it means that you can focus on the main orders coming from the other squads and your commander before relaying it to your squad and those around you. Everything here, these are just for aesthetic purposes. You have the radio filter, the command beeps, the squad beeps, and other. Next up, we're going to look at the controls. Now this is where you will start to think, oh wow, there's a lot of controls, but really don't worry. In your own time, go through looking at these and familiarize yourself with everything. The only thing that I would say is, for me at least, I've found that leaning left and leaning right are better when they're switched. So at default, your lean left is Q, your lean right is E. I have found through my 1300 plus hours of playing this game that when those are switched, it just feels easier to use. Next up, we've got the interface. Personally, I just leave everything set to default, as this is pretty much it, you know, it's all set up perfectly. Then you'll have a Steam inventory and a replay section. We don't need to worry too much about these, as there's nothing really to talk about. So that's the basics of your settings. Next up, you're going to want to look at this section here, training. I highly recommend that you run through this tutorial at least twice. Once just to go through it so you know what you're doing, and the second time to explore everything, you know, to really understand everything. I'm not going to do that now because it's a 20-minute tutorial and I want to keep these informative videos short. So do this at your own time, but make sure you do it before going into your first game, as this would just give you a little step up into the world of squad that you may not have got without doing it. If you want to try out different factions, click on any one of these 3 training ranges here. This one here on the left has the British and the Irregular Militia factions. The middle one, the United States and Russia, and the right hand one, the Middle Eastern Alliance and the Insurgents. Use any one of these and familiarize yourself with the weapons, the vehicles of each faction. Finally, if you're feeling brave, head up here to the pilot tutorial. Personally, I wouldn't touch this until you've got the basics of everything else down. But if you're feeling adventurous and you've flown before in other games, and you think you can handle it, head over to the pilot training range. But yeah, I hope this helped, guys. If it did, feel free to drop a comment and a like down below. Let me know if you need help with anything else. We've got more guides coming in the future. And I am live on Twitch every Friday and Saturday from 8 PM GMT. Feel free to come by, hang out, let me know what you think. If this was helpful, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.